Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal, and we have the moon going through Libra. It is having an encounter with Mars that was already there, and when the moon enters this sign, the focus it is turned into the mirrors, the relationships that we are sustaining, whatever kind of them, and what they are showing. So if there are imbalances, then there is this need of finding this inner harmony to later understand what we need to do with Mars. It is a plan of action to adjust the scale. The conjunction with Mars in Libra, the last days reactivated the mathematical degree of the solar eclipse in Libra of October of 2024. So there where the sun was dark, it is revealing right now decisions or situations that are moving us to act, that are connected with that moment. And we are talking about fair, just actions. In some cases, this justice with quotation marks, it is about learning to see it, especially when we are operating from this impulsivity from our ego, so we are able to solve or avoid conflicts. In other cases, could be completely the opposite. I am referring that it is about letting go of the evasion of, facing a conflict or making a decision that is very determining that is, a decision that we need to make, because perhaps that decision it is linked with retiring from situations where there is a great lack of reciprocity. Could also be about looking for the way looking for that inner measure in front of circumstances that right now we cannot force to change externally, to take ourselves to a different instance eventually in the process. Both of them, the moon and Mars, are responding to Venus that has just entered in Leo until September 19th. And it is connecting with all the transpersonal planets. It is in attention with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius that is going to be perfected in short. All the positions of Venus, they are going to speak to us in different ways of topics that are linked with value towards ourselves and the experiences that we value, both in matter or in relationships. But Venus in Leo specifically, it is this, this, I don't know the word right now, remembers us that a healthy self-esteem, it is very necessary to be able to recognize that we have a light to offer to other people, whatever the form it takes. And if we didn't discover that light yet, it is about taking action to reconnect with the things that passionate us. But it is also through that love towards oneself and towards, in the end, other people, other experiences, that we are capable of taking ourselves to make decisions that are in coherence with our values, with those things that we value. And this is important because there could be people that there are in their houses, making these affirmations or listening to these subliminal videos. I don't think that this is something bad at all, with these phrases that are elevating the esteem, the self-esteem. But truth is that love is something that blossoms with every decision, and could be a trap, to wait for feeling that we are loving ourselves, to decide to say no to a relationship that deep down we are detecting that is not aligned with the things that we really want, when at the same time the patterns could be emerging, patterns of codependency, of not wanting to be alone, of seeking external recognition, but in people that are not able to offer that. So it requires love to make the decision anyways. It could also be a trap to, wait to feel very valuable in order to share our creative work. Because truth is that by taking decisions, even if there are moments that are not that easy, it is that we are building love. Love is an energy present in everything from the Piscean or Neptunian perspective, but we also know that in our terrestrial experience, this is a path, it is an art, it is a labor over oneself to learn to grow in that way of loving. Venus in a trine with Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries. So loving requires courage, the courage of knowing how to be alone when the process is requiring that, and of opening our hearts when, we perhaps experimented painful experiences in the past. Requires having this will of taking a look to ourselves with our shadows and our lights, and to see the others, with them, accepting what the others are in the present moment. It is also going beyond the first phase of, when we are in love with someone, because once we are out of that phase, we are discovering, what was the essence of that union. If it was, the pleasure of the emotions that the other is provoking in me, or is this true will of growing together when, the parts that are emerging are not that likable, and we all have that. So there is a key in here, because even if we are coming, from previous generations that they tolerated things that were intolerable, I don't know, well, that weren't supposed to be something to tolerate, abuses, deceit, to sustain a mask for society, to sustain the family, whatever thing. I think that we are reaching this polarization, this collective polarization, that is something very common in human beings, that probably is emphasized by social media. And it is not social media that responsible. It is, human beings doing certain, giving certain uses to them. But what I am talking about, it is that people could be connecting very superficial ways, even if deep down they want much more than that. Or in some cases they are losing the interest for, genuine relationships or more committed ones, because they are not disposed to deal with relationships in which they have to go through deaths and rebirths to deepen in themselves, because that deepening, it is to face unknown parts of ourselves. So I think it is important to not lose the value of the need to invest time and energy, so our relationships can be something that illuminates us to all the parties that are participating, which is not the same as attachment, insistence, and draining, where we know that is not the way, because we want to avoid the pain. So love, I think it is also about seeing the brightness or the growth of others, and being happy for them, instead of feeling that as a threat. Because it could happen that if other people are, successful with things they love, that could emphasize the discomfort of what you don't like of your experience. But this Plutonian force that, offers us the invitation to transmute, it indicates that perception could be transformed in first place if we are willing to recognize it. So that perception could be turning to see the light of other people as a source of inspiration, of admiration, and understanding, believing that there are possibilities. But also, it is about taking the opportunity to not over-focus on the external, and to go inwards and to listen to what our heart wants. But because truth is that only what is linked, what is related to our hearts, can be sustained. If we are doing things only identified with that social recognition, if something doesn't go well, if there is a fall, if our expectations are not accomplished, there is nothing that impulses us to continue. And instead of giving from a space of generosity, we're doing that to obtain specifically something. But when we're doing something because our inner fire is impulsing that, even if things aren't going as we expected, even if there is no this great recognition, even if there are challenging learnings, one continues because we know that is that way. It is simply because abandoning, abandonment, it is not felt genuine with oneself. And sometimes we have to experiment of what is not authentic with ourselves in life and in relationships to reveal what it is. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video.